Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be crazy. On the surface, the film looks like a grounded reset for Peter Parker after the events of No Way Home. But the confirmed involvement of the Hulk changes the story's logic in a way Marvel cannot ignore. Mark Ruffalo's return as Bruce Banner raises a fundamental question that goes beyond simple team-ups or cameos. Does the Hulk remember that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? This is not a trivial detail, because the Hulk is not just another Avenger with a standard memory affected by Doctor Strange's spell. He represents a separate consciousness, one that has historically operated with its own memories, emotions, and identity distinct from Bruce Banner. The memory wipe spell at the end of No Way Home was designed to erase Peter Parker from everyone's minds who knew him, while preserving Spider-Man's existence in history. Kevin Feige later clarified that the emotional core of the ending was that Peter would remain Spider-Man in the public record, but would lose his personal identity in the eyes of the people he loved. However, that explanation assumes that all minds in the MCU function in a conventional way. The Hulk does not. From The Incredible Hulk through Infinity War, Marvel consistently portrayed Bruce Banner and the Hulk as two distinct consciousnesses. They argue with each other, resist each other, and retain separate memories, a dynamic emphasized in films like Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Infinity War, where the Hulk demonstrates awareness and recollection independent of Banner. So the theory goes like this. This distinction becomes crucial when examining Peter Parker's interactions with the Avengers over time. During the Civil War, Bruce Banner was off-world on Sakaar and never encountered Peter Parker. When he returned in Infinity War, he had limited interaction with Spider-Man and never directly saw his face or heard his identity revealed on screen. By the time Peter returned in Endgame, Bruce had already achieved the Smart Hulk form, a fusion of intellect and strength created during the blip through Banner's experiments. On the surface, it appears that the Hulk never truly knew Peter Parker's identity. However, Avengers Infinity War implies that Bruce was briefed on new Avengers recruits, including Spider-Man, off-screen at the Avengers compound. Additionally, Avengers Endgame confirms that the Avengers maintained internal records of Peter Parker, as his face appears among the dusted individuals in the opening sequence. This suggests that Bruce Banner had access to Peter's identity at some point, even if it was never dramatized on screen. The real question, then, is whether the Savage Hulk consciousness ever registered that information. If Bruce Banner knew Peter Parker's identity, and if Hulk and Banner truly maintain separate memory systems, it is possible that the Savage Hulk either never learned it, or learned it in a way that Doctor Strange's spell could not erase. The writers of No Way Home described the spell as a form of magical redaction, rewriting reality to remove Peter Parker from personal memory and physical records while preserving Spider-Man's actions. Yet Marvel has never clarified whether such magic affects dormant or suppressed identities within the mind. If the Savage Hulk was buried deep within Banner's psyche, or displaced into some metaphysical space during the creation of Smart Hulk, it is plausible that the spell never reached him. Marvel has already established several narrative spaces where discarded identities and erased histories exist. The Void in Loki serves as a dumping ground for pruned timelines and forgotten variants. Thunderbolts hints at psychological and metaphysical realms tied to suppressed trauma and darker selves. The Dark Force dimension has long existed in Marvel lore as a space connected to shadow identities and altered consciousness. If Savage Hulk was pushed into any such realm during the blip or the Smart Hulk transformation, Doctor Strange's spell, cast within the boundaries of Earth 616, may not have affected him at all. In that case, Savage Hulk could theoretically retain knowledge that no one else in the MCU remembers. This possibility makes Hulk uniquely suited to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day. The film's central theme is isolation. Peter Parker is alive in a world that remembers Spider-Man but has erased Peter as a person. The Hulk, as a being defined by internal conflict and divided identity, becomes a narrative mirror to Peter's situation. If Savage Hulk remembers Peter while Bruce Banner does not, it creates a paradox that directly challenges the logic of the spell. Hulk would recognize Peter in a world that does not, exposing a flaw in the magical reset that No Way Home established. Marvel has not confirmed this theory, but the continuity allows it, the logic supports it, and the timing makes sense. If Brand New Day is truly about consequences rather than simple spectacle, then Hulk's presence is not random. He is not just a guest appearance or an action partner. He represents a narrative loophole in the spell itself. And if that loophole exists, Peter Parker may not be as erased from the MCU as he believes. By the way, if you love to watch more Marvel theories, make sure to like and subscribe the channel. To watch how Marvel is setting up Ned's death in upcoming Spider-Man, click here.